We are going to be looking at some disturbing videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go and get right into today's video. This first video is absolutely to a stop after crashing into this vehicle and flipping over. The Ford Mach-E is a semi-autonomous vehicle, think like the Tesla. But here's something interesting. Ford is fully aware that a lot of their semi-autonomous vehicles keep having brake issues, and they believe it's due to a software update inadvertently deactivating the brake booster system, or some kind of software glitch stopping the driver from stopping the vehicle. But when it came to this particular video that came out to warn others, the reason behind the loss of control still remains unconfirmed. Yeah, I'm sure. In this next creepy video, so around the same time as this plane crash in Louisville, Kentucky involving a UPS plane, there was another woman that was watching planes land, and one of the planes she was watching was a UPS plane, a different plane than the one that crashed, but she captured something hitting the plane, and people cannot decide whether it was a bird, a drone, or something else altogether.
There's the big one. That's a big boy. Here comes another one, but did you all see? I gotta go back in that last clip. I gotta go back. A big boy. Sorry guys, TikTok bashed my video again, but I could not delete it. I didn't want to lose the footage. Note to self, don't record inside of TikTok. At any rate, you can see it going into the plane, but you don't see anything dropping from the plane, going above the plane, going behind the plane. Like, it just disappears. What do y'all think it is? A drone or a bird? Let me know what you think in the comments below. The next 30 seconds is just me playing with the timeline, going back and forth, seeing if I can see anything. Let me know if y'all see anything.
Now, it really is hard to say what that could be. And as people are pointing out, if that is a bird, then that's a pretty big bird. Then you have people saying, if it's a drone, then why don't we see any debris coming off the plane from the impact of the drone hitting the plane? I mean, I really don't know, but I do find it eerie that we just had a news story of a UPS plane had its engine fall off, and then not too long from that, we had two news stories back to back where two planes that were mid-air, something smashed into their windshield, cracking the windshield, causing the planes to divert. A United plane and Pete Hegseth's plane. When it comes to Pete Hegseth's plane, there still has not been any information yet as to what hit his plane. And when it came to the United plane, they tried to say it was a weather balloon, possibly a weather balloon, but there still has been no confirmation yet. Bird, drone, or something else altogether. Perhaps it's one of those black flying things I have been talking about quite often on this channel. But if it is a drone, then the question happens to be, are these planes being targeted now?
My wife and I recorded this on November 4th, 2025, Wilton Rock Dog Beach. It's about 2 miles out there on the water. It pulled up, it stopped. I don't know what it is. It's either a ship or a submarine, but that's not the important thing. There's a light above it. It's above the craft itself, and it was spinning for about 20 minutes. I slowed it down. That's on the bottom video. That's the negative view of it. Like I said, I don't know what it is, but right behind me is Walton Rock Creek Nuclear Reactors 1 and 2, right off the coast of Florida. It sat there for hours.
There are those that are suggesting what he captured on camera was a Russian Typhoon sub, and if it is, then why is it so close? The light that he saw eerily reminds me of the video news and media released last year of an orb leaving a United States Navy ship. And I actually made a video on this because this was around the same time people were seeing all those drones and orbs in the skies.
Between the days of October 1st and October 3rd in Aachen, Germany, there was an interesting sighting. This unidentified object was seen in the sky by multiple witnesses during the day and at night. This is a weird one. Take a look at the following videos. Comment below. Tell me what you think.
Was ist das? Das ist wild. Guck. Hammer. Überall Sterne. Was ist das? Was ist das?
That great video came from the paranormal chick. Now, I don't know what that could be. We were just talking about orbs, but seeing something like this, it kind of reminds me of the solar simulator that is patented. Could this be their artificial sun glitching out? In this next creepy video, this keeps appearing in the skies ever since 2025, and every time people capture it on camera and make a big deal about it, news and media, they come out and say it was just a SpaceX rocket that had exploded, even though it's been appearing also in other countries. But here's the funny part, yesterday this also appeared again, and because SpaceX had no launch yesterday, news and media had to come up with another excuse, and you will not believe the excuse. I'm going to go ahead and play this individual's video of what they captured yesterday, then I'll go ahead and play the news clip of what they say it happens to be.
But that's not from the Cape.
What's happening?
What the hell is that? That's coming from like Jacksonville.
Is it an explosion?
Look at it. You're videotaping it, yeah?
Yeah. What the hell is that, Dad?
I don't know. That's not a rocket launch.
That's not a rocket launch.
See, it's got a contrail all the way through it.
It's going really freaking fast. Okay, I hate to be whatever. That's not a bomb, right?
It's not a what?
Like a.
No, I think so. See, it's got trailing stuff. It's like something breaking apart.
It's not like a bomb, like a.
No, I'm wondering if it's a satellite coming back to like re-entry. See how it's going apart? It's falling apart.
What in the world?
I don't know.
What just happened?
That's almost like something re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Yeah, like a satellite.
But it's.
Destination Space News now, and if you were out and about early this morning, just before sunrise, maybe taking a morning walk, and you may have noticed something streaking across the central Florida sky. But this wasn't a launch from our Space Coast. We did have one planned, but it was held just a few seconds before it happened. So what exactly was this that was streaking across the sky? Meteorologist Zach Covey joining me now. You're also a space expert. So tell me, you actually got some photos and videos from some of our viewers showing this.
Yep.
What exactly was this?
So a lot of people saw what you are seeing on your screen right now, and we were seeing this from Tampa to the Cape to as far north as Jacksonville in South Georgia. That is not a meteor. That is a Chinese rocket re-entering Earth's atmosphere. Now, it is not only places like in St. Cloud that saw that. Obviously, here's a still image from that video, and you can see just multiple streaks, and this is how we knew that it likely wasn't a comet or a meteor.
Yeah.
Those don't break up like this. This is more of a signature of space debris of some kind.
Yeah.
But again, this was seen in St. Cloud. You can see the contrail here from Cindy in Daytona Beach. Let's take you to Orlando Executive Airport. Sky, seeing the exact same contrail just prior to sunrise. So how do we know that this was a rocket? Well, we can go back on trajectory maps from rockets in the past. And China launched something back in December of 2019. And unlike the United States, which has very strict standards on when you launch something up into Earth's atmosphere, you have to dispose of that debris. We have very strict standards. China doesn't have as strict standards. And so they left their third stage of that three-stage rocket orbiting Earth. But every time it orbits, it loses a little bit of altitude. And we knew that today that rocket was losing altitude, coming very close to Earth's atmosphere. And notice this line right here, right off of Florida's coast at around 11:27 UTC time.
It is just so weird that every time this has been seen as of 2025, it is connected to a SpaceX launch. But because the SpaceX launch that was supposed to happen that day did not happen, and it was still seen, well, they had to go with another excuse, saying that it was a 2019 Chinese rocket finally re-entering. Does anybody believe this? There was no prior warnings of this 2019 rocket re-entry, absolutely nothing. Apparently, it just took them by surprise. So they were going to go ahead and use the old "it's just SpaceX" excuse, but because this thing appeared earlier than the SpaceX launch, they had to scramble for something else. They were just caught in a big lie. So what exactly is this thing? But moving on, here's something eerie. More and more people across social media are asking, where is Ethan Guo? Now, if you do not know who this individual is, he is the young man who flew his plane, or he was trying to anyway, across Antarctica. And he was stopped and detained by the Chilean government. Now, supposedly he was released in September and the case was closed, but still people are asking, where is he? This video comes from Zay Reacts.
What did they do to Ethan Guo, y'all? He's been hella quiet, like he disappeared. We all know what happened when he flew over Antarctica. They say he was arrested. They detained this man for months. Then there was reports that came out saying he wasn't doing too good. Then all of a sudden, it was a report saying they were going to let him go. Then they said they let him go. But since then, no one has heard from him. This was his last post on TikTok, 6/23. This was his last post on IG, June 23rd. Y'all, this man was posting frequently. And now it's all gone. Nobody heard nothing. What if something happened to this man, y'all? Have y'all heard anything about it?
But that's the eerie part. Prior to his detainment and release, he was extremely active all across social media, doing promotions to help raise funds for all types of diseases and so forth. Like, for example, this flight was supposed to be a fundraiser for cancer. After his release, he has not made a single peep. Matter of fact, reading this article from CBS News, which was published on September 6th, the only person giving a statement was his attorney, and his attorney said he's doing pretty well, adding that he appeared to have been treated well on the airbase. His attorney continued to say that, of course, we do not agree with the legal process open against him, but it has already been closed with a type of dismissal. So again, the question happens to be, where is Ethan Guo, and why has he not been heard or seen from since? What did he see in Antarctica? In this next creepy video, when it comes to Trump's ballroom, which costs exactly $3,333.33 per square feet, there are a lot of people out there that believe that due to the cost, due to the size, it's not exactly a ballroom, but something else altogether, perhaps an underground bunker. But this theory is perhaps one of the best theories I've heard so far.
It could possibly be a conspiracy behind this ballroom.
All these other presidents use taxpayer money for it, and Trump is not using taxpayer money.
He's paying for it personally.
Love
I'm
Right?
pro. Continue.
Not personally. He has some donors.
Anonymous donors?
Not anonymous.
Ooh.
You ready for these donors? Google.
Oh.
Apple.
Okay.
Amazon.
Why?
Meta.
All right.
Microsoft. Lockheed Martin.
Oh my gosh.
Good people.
Palantir.
What?
Love them.
Typical.
T-Mobile. But here's where it gets weird. All right.
That's already weird.
That's super weird.
It's already started being weird. That's such a weird, because there are a lot of feuding people in that.
Oh, I
group,
see.
too.
I see where you're going with this because of this kind of concept about Trump wanting this idea that the government's going to be run by billionaires and corporations.
That's part of it, but it's a 90,000 square foot ballroom that he's building.
Yeah, that's huge.
95,000?
90,000.
90,000. Okay.
And the estimate at first was it was going to be 200 million, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be upwards of over 300 million for this 90,000 square foot ballroom.
That's nuts.
That is equivalent to paying $3,330 a square foot, which is psycho.
Like, why?
Way outside the standard of what you pay per square foot for a building.
Sure. So what are they spending so much money on? Well,
Yeah.
why is it so expensive?
Let me just break this down real quick. So, like a standard commercial home, maximum you're going to pay is $600 a square foot.
Yeah.
A high-end luxury hotel or whatever, maximum is $1,200 a square foot. And then secret government or secure government facilities, max that you pay for is $1,800 a square
So
foot.
it's a bunker / ballroom?
So they're building it, and it's over $3,000 a square foot. A theory is that they're building an underground database center.
Yeah, there you go. That would make sense for all those tech companies.
Yep. Because this is weird.
Okay.
So a couple years ago, this dude named Larry Ellison in Israel built a underground what did I just call it?
Bunker?
Data center. That is 160 feet below ground, 460,000 square feet, and they paid Israel $319 million for this.
Wow.
There you go. That's got to be it.
Highly comparable.
Said it was 440,000 square feet?
460,000 square feet under Jerusalem.
Dear Lord.
And
Really?
This bunker or this ballroom, it's costing about the same as what this data center costs in Jerusalem.
But not nearly as big.
Well, that's just the surface.
Yeah.
Because they're just building a ballroom.
Yeah. But
what's going to be underneath?
Sure.
And why are all these people interested in
And
investing in it?
They would all invest
Yeah.
because they don't want to be excluded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's an investment.
Yep. That's what
for
it
later
is.
on. Yeah.
Yep.
Like that. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
bro.
But then you have a privatized corporations that are now involved in building aspects of the White House.
This is very eerie to me because not that long ago, about a few months ago, I made a video on my other channel, Minutes of Horror, talking about how Trump paid these tech giants $500 billion to build this most expensive, most powerful AI program ever that the public is aware of anyway, called Stargate. And in that video, I said they did not build Stargate, they did not build whatever this was, but they found Stargate beneath Texas. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and play that video at the end of this video. You have Larry Ellison paying $400 billion for an AI data center beneath Israel. You have the United States paying $500 billion for a data center beneath Texas. So this $300 million project beneath Washington, D.C. does not sound like outside the realm of possibility when you connect it to an AI data center or something else altogether that was found below, some type of ancient technology. While $300 million is a lot less expensive than $500 billion, we as the public at the end of the day do not know the true amount that's going into this project. So they found something, they keep finding something underground, and they are building these data centers to power whatever this happens to be. And this also plays into the company known as Eater, and they're almost finished building whatever that is. And it's supposed to have the power of a star on Earth, but more than likely they're using it to power something altogether. So the deeper you go into this, the more eerie that does get. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and play that video at the end of this video, talking about how they found a Stargate beneath Texas. In this next creepy video, in my last video, I had shown video footage where on a person's Ring camera, they captured this tall white entity that almost looks like a rake, the cryptid, which looks very similar to the description that North Carolina man gave when he called 911, talking about something jumped into his truck. Now we have this individual releasing video footage from his Apple iPad of something that again looks very similar to what keeps being seen in North Carolina.
Mike, I need you.
Trying to hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
A little bit. Yeah.
Alright, you're not gonna believe this. I got it on video now. People think I'm nuts. It's on video, it's playing right now. I put the iPad in the window and now this thing's coming up to the steps in my backyard, Mike.
What's going on?
It's like a weird demonic looking thing and it's like a human. And it's all scratched down, and this is the second time this happened this week. And as I'm talking to you, this is all on recorded, and it doesn't see me. I'm in that that sunroom. All right, I'm putting the iPad up and spar on, and it happened. This weird thing's been happening around this time at night.
Can I record it?
You're on record. Everything's recording now. I can see the thing. It's like looking around weird.
Is it recording the video?
Yeah, right now it's on the video. It doesn't see me. I'm sitting back, but I can still see out the window really good. You should see.
Hear you?
No, it can't. But it's looking around like something out of a weird sci-fi movie. This thing is freaky. It's on video.
Next video. A grandmother is celebrating her birthday while being surrounded by friends and family, all of whom are singing happy birthday to her. As the video plays out, it seems that this footage is nothing more than just a normal video of someone recording their grandma, or at least it seems like that. Because as you continue to watch, something happens that makes this video the stuff of nightmares. This is what was caught. As everyone collectively sings, a shadow-like figure bolts behind the grandma. In a swift motion, the figure is gone. It rushes over at full speed, but not so fast that we can't discern what this was. As viewers have noted, it kinda looks like a child, or a girl to be exact, who's running at an inhuman speed. Perhaps it was running so fast that no one had noticed it except the camera. Now this video becomes a whole lot creepier when reading the description it came with. As it states, the grandmother in this footage had a daughter who unfortunately passed away many years ago. When she was alive, she would often run around the house while playing with her older sibling. It's for this reason that she believes that this was her spirit. But as always, you be the judge on what was captured. Was a ghost caught on camera, or had something else been caught?
Yeah, I keep playing this back thinking it might be a car passing by or something along those lines, but every time I look for it, it looks like a very, very fast, smaller child.
Okay. Don't move in there. No, there's a motorcycle. See?
I don't see nothing down there. Can't be the motorcycles, honey. There's nothing sparkling. You see what I'm saying?
What's that? What is that?
Tree.
No. You moved it, right? Right there. See it?
Uh-huh.
Look.
There's nobody there. Where? I can't see.
Look. Isn't it those people?
Can't be.
There's nobody
Not up
down
in the trees.
There's nobody down there no more. See?
That video was taken back in 2001, and being somebody that's visited Gettysburg multiple times, you just get such a strange feeling being there, as if you're just surrounded by energy. In one of my most recent videos, I had spoken about how Mexico's ex-governor captured this orb floating around on camera. But come to find out, more and more people in different locations are also capturing them as well. Here are two videos showing these orbs floating around, and the question happens to be, what are...
Pretty adamant that this interdimensional being goes into the ground. Watch. Watch, wait for it. Saw that? I've went and slowed it down. I watched it a few times. If you watch it, if you make it full screen, it definitely goes into the ground. But my first question to y'all is this an interdimensional being? And does it go into the ground? That's my second question. What do y'all think about this? You see it, it looks like it's looking for something, right? It's searching for something. But it definitely goes into the ground. Does that mean it came from the ground? All right.
It was taken by a construction worker. He states that many of his colleagues have said recently that they have been seeing strange things. So one night he decides to stay in the monitoring area to be able to see what his colleagues were observing. But he was taken by surprise when he observed a mysterious fireball. A fireball that seems to travel all over the place. Watch this.
Hantu guys. Hantu kepala merah. Termonitor di area belakang gudang anda. Dia arah belakang, arah jalan koridor belakang gudang anda. Hati-hati guys. Hati-hati guys, jadi gudang anda. Hantunya mengintai.
The only sense of this I can make whatsoever is that this is possibly AI, but I feel like we'll eventually fall down that hole of claiming that everything strange and bizarre that's witnessed on camera is AI. And I think that's the ultimate goal of artificial intelligence, is to cover up the very bizarre and strange things that will be captured on camera. But usually, or most of the time anyway, TikTok is good at labeling things to be AI, and so far, this video has not been labeled AI generated.
Wrong road in Wolf Creek can put you... Going down the wrong road in Wolf Creek can put you in a world of trouble. You're about to hear why. Got a very interesting direct message from an individual who will remain anonymous about some things she's experienced over the years up in Wolf Creek, so buckle up for this one. I'll read it as it was sent. I was living in Wolf Creek with my family in the year 2000 to 2002. I was about 10 to 12 at the time, and we moved there to do in-home elderly care for a local woman. My family really enjoys outdoor time and like to go on random drives just to check out scenery and stop in pretty areas. We drove up into the woods. That's all there is up there. And my stepdad had spotted what looked like abandoned gravel road that led to a meadowy creek area with lots of wildflowers. What made this spot particularly creepy was that where the main road met the gravel, it had large boulders placed in front of it, clearly there to keep people from driving into it where the creek was. No matter how many times my mother and older brother pleaded with him not to do it, my stepdad pulled over, got out of the car, and began rolling the rocks out of the way so that we could drive our very unprepared little car down the hill into this secluded little creek area. We pointed out to him that this was clearly something someone had done in order to keep people out, but he assured us it was fine and that nobody would care because we were in the middle of nowhere. Once we drove down to the bottom and parked the car, we all got out and began walking around a bit, not disturbing anything, but just enjoying how beautiful it was and enjoying the fresh air. We did, however, notice that just beyond the little meadowy area, there was a little hill, and on the other side of that hill looked to be some human activities such as tarps and maybe trash. We didn't go beyond the hill into that area because we knew that it could be potentially hazardous. We were down there for about 10 to 15 minutes before a large old truck could be heard pulling down the dirt road, and I'll never forget what it looked like and what it sounded like. The old rusty brown truck slowly came down the hill and parked directly behind our car. At that point, there would have been no way for us to get out. And my mom told me and my brother to get back in the car and that we were leaving. We hurried back and jumped in. The truck was still behind us and running, but nobody was getting out. My stepdad began waving his hand apologetically and saying sorry that we were about to leave, but nobody responded, and me and my brother watched from inside the car, petrified for what felt forever. We were convinced that we weren't going to make it home that evening. Finally, an old Appalachian-looking man stepped out of the truck and slowly took a few steps towards our car with what appeared to be a gimp in his leg, and his hand curled up his sleeve, clearly hiding a pew up his arm. As my dad profusely apologized and explained that we were only looking at the creek and the scenery, the only thing the man said was, "How far did you go?" My dad responded with, "Just the creek. We were only just looking at the creek and all the ferns down there." He asked again, "How far did you go?" My dad jumped in the car and continued apologizing over and over out the window and told the man that we were just wanting to go home, that we were just a family with kids and meant no harm, and we were very sorry and just wanted to leave. The man just stared at us with a terrifying look on his face, not saying a word for a long time. He then slowly turned, got in his truck, and sat in his running truck behind our car for about 10 minutes, staring at us. To this day, we're sure he must have been contemplating whether or not to let us all go or to bury us back behind that hill beyond the meadow in fear of what he thought we might have witnessed back there. Apparently, there was something back there that he didn't want anyone seeing. He slowly backed his truck up to the top of the hill, and we followed in our little red car. As he moved aside, we did a turnaround and whipped out of there, but in the distance we seen that he had gotten out of his truck and began putting the stones back in place, and we never went that far up the road again. Have you experienced anything like this around Wolf Creek? Let me know by putting it in the comments or sending me a DM with your story if you'd like me to share it on the channel. And again, Look out when you're in the roads around Wolf Creek.
So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is play that video I made months ago talking about how they found Stargate beneath Texas as opposed to building it. It's about 20 minutes long, so again, I'm going to go ahead and play it now. I made a video about portals. When you go to that video, you can see the thumbnail. It says they are everywhere, and it shows a photo of a portal. The title, they are preparing us for something big. And this video was made all the way back in October of 2024. Now, this is what I said in the beginning of that video, and really quick, we're just going to go ahead and do a flashback. It's just a prank, bro. It's just a glitch, bro. It's just art, bro. Portals, portals, portals. The topic of portals had been really gaining steam through different forms of media like movies and video games, but the topic of portals has become really hot lately in our everyday lives, out of nowhere. And you have to ask yourself why. We are just seeing portal imagery more so than we've ever seen it before. And you have to ask yourself, is it just art, bro? Or are they trying to convey a message? Because we know that they use what they consider art and different forms of media like movies, video games, and music videos and so forth, TV shows, to relay a message, to show us the truth in plain sight, and sometimes to get us mentally prepared for what's coming in the future. So yeah, I made that video because the portal imagery was just everywhere. Matter of fact, we saw portal imagery in the VMAs. We also saw portal imagery during the 2024 closing ceremony of the Olympics. And when I saw that portal ceremony, I knew something was up, because if you go back to the 2012 Olympics, they were basically showing us C-19 imagery, and then we saw what happened. So many people had noticed the eerie imagery between the opening ceremony of the 2012 Olympics and the C-19 that the fact checkers had to be released from the sewers and toilets they reside in to quote-unquote debunk it. Well, like I said, during the 2024 closing ceremony of the Olympics, there was portal imagery. We saw a big portal. We saw this golden entity they call the Voyager come through it with all these gray entities surrounding it. Now, at that time, I thought it had to do with CERN. But now I'm thinking, theorizing, it may have to do with something else. But with all this portal imagery in 2024, it felt like they were celebrating something, honoring something. There were even other channels making videos on the topic. Matter of fact, a channel that I watch, A Call for an Uprising, I don't know what channel he's under now because he's always getting banned, but he even made a video on how we are always seeing portals lately. So what were they trying to tell us about portals? But anyway, we'll come back to that. But right now, I want to go ahead and talk about the state of Texas, because something interesting may be going on beneath this state. Now, for quite some time, I have spoken about a card game on this channel called the Illuminati card game, the game of conspiracy. The reason why I've made videos on this card game happens to be because these cards continue to quote-unquote predict future events. But I don't see it like fortune telling or tarot reading, no. I see it like the so-called powers that be, they are telling us what they're doing ahead of time through this card game. No different than any other form of media. So this card game is very strange, but if you know, then you know what's taking place here. Texas actually happens to be featured in this card game. Matter of fact, it's one of those very rare cards that has two different styles of artwork. Now, if you were playing this card game back in the early 90s, taking a look at these Texas cards individually, they really make no sense whatsoever. Taking a look at this one card, you see a man with a cigar in his mouth, he's on the phone, his pockets are filled with cash, the van is filled with cash, you see a satellite in the background, looks like some kind of deal is being made here, just a lot of money. This is a place card. The description of this card reads, "You wouldn't believe what's hidden in the miles and miles of Texas plains. They are counting on that. Counting is bold." The card continues to read, "You may place one plot card, except a goal under Texas." So this has to do with something under Texas. And it's a violent conservative government card. But like I said, there is a second Texas card, different artwork, but the same description. These are the same cards, and you're supposed to look at them side by side to get what's going on here. Taking a look at the artwork on this card, you can see a bull with antennas for horns. It has robotic antennas and is branded with a pyramid. This is not a real bull. It's an artificial bull, AI. So taking a look at these cards side by side, again, really wouldn't make much sense back in the 90s. Like, what would you really make of this? But taking a look at it in today's world, it makes a lot of sense. The picture is really clear. You have a man on the left with a lot of money, looks like a big deal has gone through, and on the right, you see artificial intelligence. Texas, a lot of money, artificial intelligence. Where have I heard that before? Oh, right.
First full day back in office included a major announcement about artificial intelligence. The $500 billion project is being called Stargate. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle will build data centers to power the next advancements in AI. Texas will serve as a launch point, with the first of the data centers being built in Abilene. The leaders of OpenAI and Oracle say the centers could change the future of medicine.
The data centers are actually under construction. The first of them are under construction in Texas. Each building's 500,000 square feet. There are 10 buildings currently being built, but that will expand to 20 and other locations beyond the Abilene location, which is our first location.
President Trump says Stargate will create more than 100,000 jobs in the U.S. Oracle Chairman Larry Ellison says they'll expand to 20 centers beyond Abilene.
So let's go back to the description of this very bizarre card game. Again, it says you wouldn't believe what's hidden in the miles and miles of Texas plains. They are counting on that. And then again, like I said, it says you may place one plot card under Texas. So I wonder what could be under Texas. Besides the fact that Jeff Bezos spent $42 million to build a quote-unquote clock, who knows what this really is, and hid it inside the mountains of West Texas. Yeah, you remember that very strange story? A very large clock under West Texas. Well, West Texas will play an important role in this video. But outside of that, still the question remains, what could be hidden in the plains of Texas, under Texas? Well, when it comes to CERN, there is a theory, and I don't know if it's plausible or not, but again, there's a theory that CERN may sit on the Temple of Apollo. CERN has a particle accelerator. There are a lot of people that believe that CERN is not telling us the truth as to what they actually do, and they may be opening up portals, gateways, and so forth. The reason why people believe that CERN sits on top of the Temple of Apollo happens to be because CERN is very large. It spans over 3 countries, including France. The reason why there's a theory that CERN sits on top of the Temple of Apollo happens to be because it's near Saint-Genis-Pouilly, which is believed to have the Temple of Apollo. So why am I mentioning CERN? Well, like I said, a lot of people believe that a lot of strange things take place in CERN, but also Texas was going to be unique in those regards as well. Texas was going to have a massive super collider, a large hadron collider, a particle accelerator built right beneath it. Matter of fact, the tunnels are still there. They are massive. Monies were spent, billions of dollars. Yet for whatever reason, they just decided to, out of nowhere, cancel the project. Even though they put in all this time, money, and effort, it was just canceled. Why? Well, they said they didn't feel like spending any more money and close shop. Was it really the money that canceled this project, or did they just happen to find something as they were digging beneath Texas and they decided to back away? Who really knows? But flash forward to today, as you see in the news, these tech giants, they came into this agreement, this deal with Trump, a $500 billion contract for this AI program, Stargate. What some people may not know is that even before this $500 billion deal, Stargate was being built. The data center was being built in Texas a year before Trump's presidency in 2024. Look at this Reddit post right here. It says Stargate Site 1, Texas, January 2025. This was over a month ago. This came out 2 days after the announcement of this $500 billion program. And people said, well, how could they have built this so fast? Well, no, that is because, again, this was being worked on back in 2024. But my thing is, did they build Stargate or did they find Stargate? Is this data center built on top of something just like CERN is theorized to have been built on top of the Temple of Apollo? Think of the name Stargate. What is a Stargate? A Stargate is a portal. And like I said in the beginning of the video, in 2024, around the same time this was built, there was an explosion of portal imagery as if they were celebrating something. So talking about 2024 portals, Stargate, the data center of Stargate is currently being built in Abilene, West Texas. And again, the construction had to have started in 2024. Well, something also strange happened in Abilene, Texas in 2024 as well, under Abilene, Texas.
For the second day in a row, an earthquake rattled homes in West Texas, but even some people here in North Texas felt this one. The 5.1 magnitude earthquake rumbled across the state at 9:28 a.m. The epicenter was near Hermleigh, Texas. That's about 200 miles west of Fort Worth. Yesterday, a smaller 2.5 magnitude quake hit that area, and a 4.9 magnitude earthquake hit there Monday. If you felt the earthquake this morning, you aren't alone. We've gotten reports of people feeling the shakes in cities like Aubrey, Granbury, and even to the east in Saxe and Collin County. Boy, that is that's a wide area there, Kylie.
Yeah, Brandon, it sure is. I've also put up a graphic behind me to show you a closer look as well. But in fact, we've seen people that have reported feeling some residual tremors as far north as the Red River. And even a little bit closer to home, a couple folks in downtown Dallas saying that they felt some of that residual tremors as well. So this is a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. That's pretty large, especially for this part of the country. Again, reported a little before 9:30 this morning, just to the north and west of Abilene. And like Brandon mentioned, about 200 miles west of DFW.
That is right. It was reported back on July 29th, 2024, that 103 earthquakes in 1 week had struck West Texas, around the location of Abilene. There was even a state of emergency declared. There were earthquakes as high as a 5.0 magnitude, which is a very nice size for this area, because this area of Texas naturally does not get earthquakes. It's not a very seismically active part of the country. To this day, there was never any concrete answer or any confirmed answer as to what caused these earthquakes. 103 earthquakes in 8 straight days. But they said that it's 99% likely to be linked to local oil fields, and that's always possible. But Texas is known for its oil fields, and these residents around Abilene and in Abilene, they were saying how they've never experienced anything like this before in Texas. Is it possible that something else was happening beneath the ground of Abilene involving Project Portal or Project Stargate? Maybe certain organizations were looking for something beneath Abilene and they found it. This data center could be a front, or perhaps this data center could research and power whatever they found beneath the ground. A portal, a Stargate.
Larry, why on this day one do you think you decided to do this? I assume you've been working on it for a long time.
We have been working on it for a long time. The first data centers are actually under construction in Texas already, and we'll be turning them over to Sam to start training their next model. The data center we already built, it was the largest computer ever built. The data center we're building will surpass it and be the largest computer ever built, which enables this AI.
Or perhaps in other words, this data center has a very massive computer that powers and enables whatever ancient technology they found. Some of you may be saying a Stargate, a portal, ancient technology under Texas, that is stupid. That is such a stupid theory. Where are you getting this from? I'm about to click off. Well, before you click off, let's not forget there were theories in the past of other Stargates residing beneath the earth. There is a Stargate believed to be in Sri Lanka. Matter of fact, if you were to look it up, it's an archaeological site and it's called Stargate on the map. There is a very specific reason as to why they call it Stargate, and we'll get back to that in a moment. But one of the biggest theories has to do with Iraq. Many believe that the United States invading Iraq was under false pretenses because we were told the United States was invading due to weapons of mass destruction. When no weapons of mass destruction were presented, we all believe that it was a lie. But maybe, just maybe, the United States did indeed get weapons of mass destruction, but not in the way that we're thinking. Again, truth in plain sight, double speaking. It is believed, not believed, it is a well-known fact that the United States had taken many artifacts after the invasion of Iraq. When the raids began, a lot of loot, a lot of gold, a lot of artifacts, tablets, and so forth were taken from Iraq during the invasion. And as you can see here, that's no conspiracy theory because news came out that in 2021, a lot of these items were returned, but who knows if these were the original items. Now, when this came out, and again, no weapons of mass destruction were presented, if you go to the CIA website, they released a FOIA document and it's titled Key Intelligence Task 91004. And as you read this, it says Collection Stargate. And it all has to do with the 1991 Iraqi War. It even says right here, large groups of objects now buried in the sand will be uncovered. And it all talks about the battle that is taking place in Iraq. But again, read this, Collection Stargate. A big theory came out that the United States actually invaded Iraq to access an ancient Stargate. A lot of people believe this to the point that once again, the fact checkers had to come out to quote unquote debunk this. This all has to do with the Great Ziggurat of Ur in Mesopotamia, which used to be the home of the Sumerians, and the Sumerians worshipped a group of deities called the Anunnaki. This article even says that this may be the nugget of truth in the Stargate narrative, with conspiracy theorists believing that the Anunnaki were actually extraterrestrials that gifted Stargate portals to the people living at the time. The reason why they say this is false happens to be because there is no scientific evidence to back up the claim that an alien Stargate is located in the Great Ziggurat of Ur. And even if there was, come on, do you really think they would tell us the truth? The article goes on to say that the location was initially used by the Iraqi leader, Saddam Hussein's forces, as a military facility, the Talil Air Base, which was largely destroyed by American forces in 1991. According to United States military records, then in 2003, the United States retook it and the Pentagon closed public access to the land adjacent to the structure, after building a new airfield and military base there. The United States cut off all public access, which frustrated a lot of Iraqi citizens because to them this was a holy site and they couldn't access it until it was given back to the Iraq government in 2009. So who really knows what happened during that time period? This type of technology may have been considered weapons of mass destruction to certain people within the United States. I mean, who really knows the truth? Again, we were lied to. Artifacts were indeed looted. So why didn't Saddam Hussein, if he had this Stargate, if he had this technology, why didn't he use it against the United States? Well, maybe he couldn't. Maybe he didn't know how to. Maybe he was trying to, and certain people in the United States caught wind, and there we go. But going back to Sri Lanka, because like I said, it is believed that there is a Stargate there as well. Near the ancient Sri Lankan sacred city lies a mysterious megalithic rock art inscription known today as Sakwala Chakraya, considered to be at least 5,000 years old, and this is what it looks like. Matter of fact, there is mythology from the post-Buddhist era of Sri Lanka, which states that legendary heroic King Ravana may have had contact with beings living on other worlds and within other dimensions by means of energizing the Sakwala Chakraya with specific rites and incantations. Going back to Texas and Stargate, there were articles coming out that AI was being used to read ancient texts. Now, I don't know if that's truthful or not, but again, these were the articles that were coming out, and now they have this massive computer to energize, to enable the Stargate. If Iraq has one, and this is the reason why we invaded Iraq, if Sri Lanka is said to have one and their mythologies talk about it and so forth, why can't the Americas have one? Perhaps underground. Perhaps the Stargate accesses other dimensions. Things come through. Things with promises to cure all these diseases. Cancers, have all these vaccines, like Larry Ellison says. And perhaps it does a lot of other things too, like it monitors the public. This Stargate, this portal, this AI, is supposed to be the most powerful AI ever, doing things we have never seen before. And where are they getting this technology? Well, this technology was always here. Now they found a means to access it.
Yes, it takes a huge investment, but the result of the investment will be vaccines that prevent cancers, personalized medicine, where we never again run into a problem like 19 before, because we get an early warning. We know when COVID starts, when there are a handful of patients, rather than having to wait until it's become an epidemic and very difficult to control. This is a very large investment that affects all of humanity. Can I ask the three of you just really quickly to get a sense of where you see the...
But let's also not forget that Larry Ellison, who is behind Stargate, also said this in an interview.
Everyone would see it. Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Ellison's vision is for AI to analyze data from this network of cameras in real time in an attempt to prevent crime while also tracking and influencing public behavior for a safer society. However, the idea raises serious privacy concerns.
Make no mistake about it, Wolf's Creek is definitely one of the more eerier places in the United States, with a lot of legends talking about dogmen, other types of cryptids, Bigfoot, and so forth, unusual disappearances, so a lot happens at Wolf's Creek. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.